It's about constructors, destructors, mutator functions, and accessor functions. Yes. So I hope I'm sharing the screen. No, I'm not sharing the screen. I want to share the screen. Okay. Oops. So we're going to talk about constructors, destructors, mutator functions, and accessor functions, right? Yes. So as I said, a default constructor, the first function that I'm going to talk about is a default constructor. So a default constructor is the one that has the same name as a class name. So this is a default constructor. It has the same name as what? As a class. See? So a default constructor has the same name as a class name. So let me just create this copy. Then I say project. Create a project. Sense kakuhle so that and then package and then we say create this folder for my project, which is patient. And then enter, I save this. So I want to create it into separate files. Say changes, no, yes. So yes, yeah. So I have this class which is patient, and this class has 3 member variables, and now I have 1 member function. So this member function, it's called a default constructor. This default constructor has the same name as what? As the class name. You see? Yes. And now let's go back to the definition for this default constructor. So a default constructor is a special constructor that is automatically called when an object is created without any arguments. It initializes the object attributes to default values. It is not considered a mutator function or an accessor function, as its main role is to set up the initial state of an object. So that means that we want to initialize our variables. So if we are talking about initializing our object, we want to initialize these variables, the name, the surname, and the ID, because they belong to the object of the patient. You see? Yes. So you want to initialize these variables because they belong to the object of the patient. You see? Yes. And then let's go to another constructor. Again, we have a parameter constructor. A parameter constructor is the one that accepts parameters at the time of object creation and is used to initialize object attributes similar to a default one. A parameter constructor is not strictly an accessor or a mutator. It's responsible for setting initial values. So even the parameter constructor is responsible for setting up the initial the values of Okay, so you don't see my screen. Okay, I was coding. So let me share my screen again because it seems as if the code is not. Okay. Stop sharing the screen. Then share the screen. Yes. So yeah, this is the class that I'm talking about, which is patient. And it has 3 variables, which is name, surname, and ID, and they belong to and then that means now that these variables, they belong to the object of the patient. So that means once I create an object of the class patient, so that means in memory allocation, a space is going to be created for name, surname, and ID. You see, yes. And now let me go to this parameter constructor. Yes. Yes. So a parameter constructor has the same name as a class name, but it also accepts the parameters. String, I can say name or n if I want to, and then I say string as for surname, and then int, then say id, I for id. I can put the underscores. I feel like surname is different from that one. And here I can put name. Yes. And then I'm gonna close there with that one. So now this is patient. This is a default constructor. Let me write a comment so that you can see a default constructor. This one, it's called a parameter constructor. It's called a parameter constructor. Parameter. And then after a parameter constructor. So these are the parameters: name, surname, ID, but they are different. See now, this one is underscore, so it's different from this one. And even this surname, it's different from this one. Even this ID, it's different from this ID. You see, yes. And then now let's look on this one. So again, we have what we call a destructor. So a destructor is a special member function that is automatically called when an object goes outside the scope or it's explicitly deleted. Its main role is to clean up resources and perform any necessary cleanup operations before the object is management. So that means now, as soon as the program goes outside the scope, so that means now, as soon as the program goes outside the scope, let me come here. As soon as outside this is outside the scope. As soon as the program goes outside the scope, this is outside the scope. Yes. So that means now it's going to clean up. It's going to clean up the resources. So that means it's going to deallocate what the memory. It's going to free up the resources. Yes. And then again, we have what? We have mutator functions. Yes. So when we're talking about mutator functions, we're talking about, is this idea? Yes. So when we're talking about mutator functions, mutator function, we're talking about, let's go and read the definition first. Mutator functions are methods or functions that are used to modify the internal state of an object. They allow you to change the values of an object's attributes. These functions typically have names like set x, set y, set name, set age, set value, set date, set year, and so whatever. Yes. So these x and y represents the names of the attributes. So that means they represent the values that belongs to an object. You see, yes. And let's go and create an example for a set function. So mutator function. So void in, then I put a string here. So in, yes. This one is called what? This one is called a mutator function. You see, it accepts what? It has what? It has a parameter. You see, yes. So it starts with that set, and then there's that name. So that means now it's going to be able to modify what? The name. So it modifies what? The attributes. It's able to modify what? The attributes. So now it's going to modify this name. You see, yes. And then now let me go to what else? Accessor function, right? So I can just write another mutator function void set surname, and then I say string, and I put statement terminator there, right? Yes, I said int id. You see, id, yes. So now let's go to the accessor function. Accessor functions, mutator functions. These are called mutator functions. These are called accessor functions. These are called accessor functions. So the accessor functions. The accessor functions are methods or functions that provide access to the internal state or attributes of an object. They allow you to retrieve what? The values of an object's attributes without directly exposing the attributes themselves. These methods typically, or these functions typically have names like getX, getY, where X and Y represent the names of the attributes. You see. So now let's come here and create this thing. So they start. So this is name, right? So I want to create an accessor function for retrieving data. So the accessor functions they retrieve into data from the object. So I'm just going to create a string get name. And put a const there because they only retrieve data. They don't modify what data. So that is why we write that constant there, because they only retrieve what? The data. Then I have my string. Then I have my get. Const. And now I have my int id. Then I have my const. Then now these are our accessor functions. Or let's also write a destructor. So this is how we would write a destructor. So a destructor also has the same name as a class name. So the class name is patient, but it is symbol at the beginning. Patient. This one is called a destructor. Let's see. It's called a destructor. Let's see. So let's save our class. Save as patient header file. Then I save. And then I save. So we have a patient, which is a default constructor. So this is a function that has the same name as a class name. It's used to initialize what? Our object. And again, we have our patient, which is used to initialize our attributes, which is a destructor, a parameter. Sorry, this is called a parameter constructor. You see. So these are called mutator functions. They modify what? The attributes. So these are called accessor functions. They retrieve a data from the object. I see. And this one is called a destructor. It's for a resource management, or it fills up in memory after the program goes out of the scope. You see, yes. And then now let's go to the implementation. So since I have a string here, I have to have that hashtag include string. And then since I have that hashtag include, I have to have using namespace and that namespace std namespace std, yes. And then now I add a new file. So I'll just take this part. I'll just do this. I'll just copy this part as it is. Copy and paste it on this side. Paste it so that lingazukwenza kwa mistake. So that lingazukwenza span, in other words. So upper you always write it like this. The first thing you write when you are going to define a specific function. Obviously, I'm going to do some printing. So let me include that one. So why is it starting? It's starting. Maybe it's fine. Maybe let's leave it like that. Maybe it's fine. Is it? No. So let me just fix this first. Then that, and also that, and also that. So the reason why I just copied these are called function prototypes, you see. So now I'm going to write the implementations for these function prototypes. On the class, we call them function prototypes. So at this stage, I want to write what the implementations for these function prototypes. Then so now, when I'm creating implementation for this function, which is called a default constructor, so the rule is that you just write a return type, but this function does not have any return type, even void. It does not have any return type, even void. So let me just IO string, and then after using namespace standard, obviously std, yes, but we can just get rid of this. So already have it here, hashtag. Good. So I want to include this class, which is patient, inside this file. But I'm going to write my implementation, which is patient. A patient dot h. So this is patient dot h, and then hashtag include patient dot h. Yes. And then now I'm going to say yes. So that means now the content of this file is now shared on this file. And then now I want to write the definition for this method. So I'll just say a return type, but this function does not have any return type. So it's going to be just this and it's called So the drill, it's like this. It's a return type first. It's called a return type. Then after return type, it's a class name. Then it's a scope resolution operator. So this is a class name. This is a scope resolution operator, and then it's a function. So this is how we define, how we create implementation for a method. This is how we create what implementation for a method. So it's a return type, it's a class name, it's a scope resolution operator, it's a function. So in our case, so patient, it's a default constructor. So it does not have any return type, but that means we're just going to write a class name. So the class name is patient, and it's a scope resolution operator. It's a, after scope resolution operator, it's a function, and then it's an implementation for the function. So if we don't want to create any mistake, you just take this one, copy it as it is, and put it inside here. So there's also that is, I want to a null. So I want to initialize my name to an empty string, which is null. And then I want to initialize my setting to an empty string again. Then I want to initialize my ID to 0. Yes. So those are the initial values. So we want something inside the memory. We don't want garbage values. Yes. And then again, let me go to the parameter constructor. So when we're defining this parameter constructor, obviously we're going to start creating, we're going to say a return type, but the parameter constructor does not have a return type, and the class name. The class name is patient. Then it's scope resolution operator, and then here it's going to be, you just copy that, copy, you paste it inside here, and then you take this value or that argument. So now it's more like I'm going to receive what? I'm going to receive the values through this constructor, and then I'm going to assign it to that private value is. So I'll just take that surname, and then I'm going to assign it, going to initialize it to my attributes, and then I'm going to take that one as well, and then I'm going to initialize it to my attributes. Yes, but this one ID. So age, I want to validate my input, so I'll just say if the ID or the ID or the ID, the ID. So let me put age. I want to create something that is going to be validated. And something that is going to be validated easy, so that you can see. So this is that is age. So I'm going to set my age there. Then I say age, and then we say get age, int get age, yes. And then now let's come and fix this side. So was still here, that is age. So if the age now greater than 0, greater than 0, and less than 125. So you don't write it like this. If age is greater than 0 and less than 125, then that one's wrong. This one's wrong. So we are just going to do it like this. If age is greater than 0 and age, let me put my equal sign, greater than or equal to. So if age is greater than or equal to 0 and less than or equal to 125, so ID is equal to age. So that means at this moment I'm initializing what? So I'm validating my data before I set it. See? Yes. And then I will go to these ones. So these are my accessor, my mutator function. So first of all, let me just do this one so that we can can treat them as if they are not here. So let's treat them that they are not here. Let's treat them like, let's cut them. And then I'm gonna just pull them down below so that we forget about them. So this is just a comment. So that doesn't exist on the compiler. Compiler is not going to read that. And then again, I'm going to take this guy, take them out. Equation. So I'll take them out of the equation. Then I copy that part. And then on the compiler, this doesn't exist. So this is going to be ignored by the compiler. Compiler is not going to read this because it's a comment. So technically this does not exist. So that means we have the default constructor, parameter constructor, and accessor functions. So on this thing of the accessor function, let's write our, so it's a written type, right? And then it's a class name. It's a class name patient. And it's scope resolution operator. And then it's a function. Now, the accessor function retrieve value from the object. Yes. Then again, it's a class name, scope resolution operator, and the class name. Then it's a scope resolution operator. So it's a written type, class name, scope resolution operator, then it's a function. So that then again I have this one. So it's class name, scope resolution operator. This is get age. I've changed this one to get age. Retrieve my age from the object. You see these ones are the ones which are private. Return surname, return age. So these are the values that are inside the object. So we are trying to retrieve them from that object by using the accessor function or the getters. Yes. So this one is I'm just going to write its function. So it frees up. So this one just frees up the memory. So this one frees up what the memory. So now let's save this file. Let's save this file. Let's save implementation. Then I save my implementation. Yes. And then now let's create the last file, which is for testing our class. So on this file, I'm going to put this copy and paste. Right? And then I create my main function where the execution of my program is going to begin. My return type. And then now I'm going to create an object for this class, which is patient. So I'll just say patient. And then patient. One. Now, allowed to do this. So you can just say math. And then, so that means I'm following this pattern. So I'm following this pattern. I want to import my name there, then input my surname there, then input my age there. Yes. So okay, so that is age, and then that is yes, that is the age. Let's go back there. So that's my name, then let me put my surname, then let me put my false age again. So this information is false. So let's just say, and then I want to say, okay, let me just try to print the name. Then I say name, and I print the name. So I'm going to use my object, because after this, the object is going to be created, which is patient one. So okay, let me save this file first. So this file is correct. So I'll just say can name it up. Yes. Then patient one. So this is my object. Now I'm using my object to retrieve. I want to print my name using this get function. Yes. Then again, I want to print my surname. To print my surname, and now I want to use that object and get saying I want to skip a line after I've printed what my surname. So you see now I've been writing cout and this and this, so I want to save time, so I'll just copy that. So I want to avoid repeating the same thing over and over again, so I'll just delete this. So this is gate age. This is gate age. So let me go and see if I fix this one, or let me save this one as well. So the gate age is the gate age is here. So what about here? Get age is int get age, yeah, and then is, and then is, and then I have patient at get age, get age. So this is where I'm declaring my object, declaring instantiation. Let's say instantiation, yes, and then now printing using accessor function, yes, and then let's try and run it. Let's try and run it. So it's saying invalid preprocessing directive hashtag include IO string. Why? So let's get rid of this one. Let's get rid of that one and put include IO string. Whenever you see an error, you don't panic. Just stay calm and try to fix the error. We compile our code again, and then our ID was not included in the scope. Then we go and see what is the problem. Oh, problem is there. It's age of, say that we modify that one to an age. Then we compile again, and then even this one. Now it's age is, and then we compile again. So again, so whenever we see an error, please don't panic. Just try to fix an error. So what's happening here? So you see here, I forgot this part of class name, then it's scope resolution operator. and then that one. So finally, so now you see that is the output. So that means now I'm done. You see. So now I want again to remove this constructor and use the set functions now. I want to remove this or else let me not remove this constructor. So let me, or else that can be a, let me just remove this constructor. So let me remove this parameter constructor now. Removing this parameter constructor now. Then I want to add my mutator functions now. Let's add the mutator functions. So that means now we have one. We have this one constructor, which is default constructor, and what? And a destructor. Yes. Now I've just removed these functions again. So instead of constructor, I'm going to use these mutator functions to set up the values. Yes, and then come back here. So I'll just come back here. Then I'm going to take this away. Cut. Yes, I'm taking it away. Yes. Then the buisella this part. The buisella this part. Cut. Is the for constructor. And then I have my comment that one. Then I say opening those. So this one set age now. Then we have int, and then we have that age. Yes, and then now I have this one. And then I follow my same procedure. It's a return type, and then it's a class name, patient, and then it's a scope resolution. Yes. And then that one, its name is equal to. So even here, it's surname from the object. So we have that surname again. Yes. So the data from these parameters is going to be copied to this side. You see, yes. And then now again, so I'll just copy these from here. I'll just copy these from here. I'll take this one from here. See age, you can delete this one there. And then I have this one. So now that the age must be greater than or equal to 0 and less than or equal to 125. But if the age it's above this range, so that means now that range is not, that age is not normal. Let's see. So I'm validating my data. Let's see. Yes. So now again, let's come to the site and change some few things. So we'll just change that and put it like that. And then now I'll just use data to set values at patient one. And then I say my patient one dot at and so going to pause for a minute. I'm going to pause 1 minute.